with another video, or I should say continuation of the valve cover install and everything else install. So we still have the intake manifold to put on, which is the port injection manifold. The oil filter housing gasket we had to replace, the high pressure fuel pump, and the starter. So last video we did the head port block off with the new valve cover. This is what it looks like right now. Obviously it's not finished, so once I change the starter and the high pressure pump, then I'll go ahead and put the manifold on, and then we're gonna start, I guess, tucking wires away and things like that, so the engine bay looks a little bit more presentable. So I'm gonna go ahead and take off the starter and the high pressure pump, and then we'll be back. Clapped. What's this?
Picasso.
What's
I
this?
like it.
Ta-da! Not really an exciting part, but whatever. At least the car will start now. One day, when I decide to take this car out,
After it's been sitting for like a good month.
that's what I'm saying. It's like, I take it out, and she wants to be a bitch.
You have to become one with the car. You see that? Look at that form.
Shut up.
Whenever they ask how to change your starter, first what you gotta do is get that form down. See how his legs are sprawled? One's just like tippy-toeing. One's flexed all the way. Head's into shoulder.
So the plug is kind of a bitch on this. And you have a 17 here and 17 here. And then 3 Allens, 1, 2, and 3. And the whole thing comes off. 17. Go. You also have to remove this E12 because the line is secured by it, so it won't happen. So now you can move the line out of the way. And this one, same thing, 11 right here. And that's loose.
Holding the camera
Is a task.
just like that.
Yeah.
You know, you think BMW would have simplified this over the years. Nope. It's been the same since E36, right?
What do you mean?
Stuff under the intake manifold clustered the hell up.
Yeah, E36, the only problem with those cars, no, you could literally plug in all the sensors in the wrong spots.
They're all the same connectors?
Yeah, they're all the same connectors. You can literally mix up 5 different connectors all
My
together.
coolant temp sensor touches my fuel pressure and everything else.
Yeah, and then
oil
you like
temp
start
sensor.
the car and it's like running weird and you're like, what is going on? That's plugged in. Starter is plugged in. The only thing I guess I'd recommend is changing the low pressure sensor while you're at it, like while you're here. The high side, I've never really seen the pressure go out, pressure sensor go out, but the low side, I've seen it pretty often. I never changed it, and I forgot, so I'm a piece of shit.
I'm trying to see if I can get it. There it is.
So that guy.
That same line that came right off the back of the high pressure fuel pump.
Yep, so it goes right there. It's like a 24 mil socket. You just take it off, put a new one in. Clear faults, and it goes away. If you have that fault. Besides that, I mean, that's pretty much it. just have to do the oil filter housing gasket, which for that the fan has to come out. I know, like it. But we have to remove the fan, get the lines off the oil cooler. If you have a
oil cooler,
if you have a non-sport model, you don't have an oil cooler. But if you do, then yes, you do. And either way, you still have to take the fan out because the E10 on the bottom, it's not very fun to get to.
At all.
Yeah. With the fan in. Without the fan, pretty easy.
And let's not forget that once you go and take off those lines, the fan's gonna be covered in oil and coolant.
Yeah. I totally forgot about that.
Everything's about to be covered in oil and coolant.
God damn it. Yeah, I'm contemplating life on doing this oil filter housing or just leaving it.
You're gonna end up having to remove the intake manifold.
Shut up, don't say that.
I'm just saying to do it, and you're about to put the intake manifold on. Do you want to do it twice? Or do you want to just put the intake manifold on, leave it? Well, you know what? Technically, you've got to do the intake manifold fuel line. I mean, the fuel rail and all that stuff.
Yeah, but that I can do it with the intake manifold on afterwards.
I was trying to help you out there, bud. I was trying to give you an excuse to not, you know?
Alright, well, I guess we are going to do it. This sucks.
So you dreading removal of the fan. Like, that was less dramatic than I thought. You removed that pretty quick.
I know. I just had to be dramatic.
This is what he was being all dramatic about, though.
What?
Saying that's gonna be dropping oil and coolant everywhere.
I know. That's what I don't like. What the hell did I grab?
Why did you? I am so confused as to why you grabbed that.
I thought I saw a 13.
No, that was like a 19. If you guys are wondering, it's a 13 that holds the bolt on there, not a 19.
That wasn't too bad.
Yeah, that wasn't that dramatic. Maybe because you haven't gotten to start the car in a while, everything's like...
Yeah, because it's been rolling around the shop. Maintenance. Last. Mods first. Yep.
Lovely. So, tell me about when's the last time you did an oil change on this car, bro?
What? What's wrong with it?
I've seen diesel oil that looks very similar to this.
Hmm?
Said I've seen diesel oil that looks very similar to this.
You're just exaggerating.
We'll see what your subscribers and stuff say about that. Pretty sure they'll agree. You should have seen my face when it went into the camera. I was like, wait a minute.
Oil filter housing gasket is done. Now we're moving on to the actual oil filter. We're going from stock, obviously it doesn't look like that, but the plastic one to this. And to do that, you just take the plastic part on the inside. Obviously replace your oil filter if you're there. Don't be a dumbass.
Would be nice.
Put a new one in. And change your copper washer when you do your oil change. So now it's time for the manifold, which you're gonna put on and just leave it on. We're gonna mock it up and that's it. So you guys can see what it'll look like, but we won't show you the final product until all the wiring is tucked away.
Yeah, we gotta do some trial and error on some of that wiring, see how clean we can get it.
So, see how this thing looks. Jeez.
That looks dope. Look at that. Look at that. And we're back.
Yeah. You like the catch can setup, bro? It's already done. JK. It's gonna sit somewhere right there. The only issue I have right now is the fittings are pointing this way. But that's what you get when you buy Amazon shit. We can figure that out later on. Not too worried about that. The manifold with the valve cover. Yes.
Come on, man.
But we're still not done with the manifold and the wiring. We will resume tomorrow with this project because it is 11 o'clock at night. So for you guys, it will be like 2 seconds. All right, guys. So it's the next day. The catch can is still off the car, but I did put the manifold on. I didn't put the line on, obviously, because like I said before, the line is too short, so that has to be modified. But the car is running. Everything is tidied up. So let me show you guys what it looks like. Bam. So that piece right there is actually a custom made piece. I went to Home Depot, picked up some stainless steel, cut it into shape. It's got like a small little L there, so it goes all the way back, covers all the coils. And then I just used dress up hardware like this, and yeah, there's a bolt there, bolt here, and then there's an extender underneath it to raise it up so it doesn't touch the coils and doesn't touch anything else. But it looks pretty badass. Looks clean, hides all the bullshit underneath. On this side I have the AN line over there. Can't really see it, but it's going into the intake side on the inlet. It's coming around here. I just have it loose here because I haven't installed the catch can, which I'm having issues with mounting, so I ordered a different catch can, and we're actually going to use the vacuum from the intake to suck the oil out of the valve cover, whatever you want to call it. But the manifold is on. The wiring is right here. I didn't tuck it underneath. And then we also have this brake booster line that goes all the way on the bottom and then connects over there. And then there's also a T right here, which connects to these boost solenoids on this side, and it goes all behind it. I don't have the cowl on yet, so once the cowl's on, I'm gonna actually cut the cowl to this, so you don't see any of the wiring, but you see everything else. This guy's back on. We have the fan on. So yeah, we have some touch-up work to do, and I also have this cover for the intakes. And I also need to get fender liners because there's no fender liner there, no fender liner there. So all the dirt and things like that are just getting in here. But overall, the engine bay looks a lot better. The only eyesore I think I have is this, which I'm thinking about switching over and then changing these lines to AN lines and then going to a stock cooler. Maybe also add a secondary cooler, but we'll see. They also sell a 90-degree billet fitting for this, which I'm going to put on whenever I get it. So it turns this way instead of having this hose like doing a weird, awkward loop. But the catch can doesn't arrive for the next 2 days, so I'm kind of pausing on this car. But otherwise, the car runs. Everything is good. Coolant is good. Oil's good. We do have to do oil change and a coolant flush, or not coolant flush, but add coolant. But oil change is a must because it is overdue. Besides that, I'm gonna go ahead and see. Let me show you guys. I'm gonna go ahead and replace this guy with a different catch can. I'll show you guys when it arrives. It will be all in this video anyways. The reason why is because the way it just sits, it doesn't work. So I'm gonna get a smaller catch can that fits a little bit better. I have all the AN lines here, just waiting to install those. And then I have the fittings. Still have to press these in. What else? All the stuff. This is a core, so I have to return that. This one is not. Besides that, everything else is on the car. The last thing is obviously connecting this fuel line whenever I get the port injection controller, which I will show you guys on this car. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this car, but this is 335 Carlos's car, single turbo on 3 kit. He's got the black market parts manifold on there, and he's got a different fuel line which works for this. And the only difference is this one has the direct port fittings on there versus mine, which doesn't have anything on there. So this car got swapped because it had a blown motor. I'm sure you guys seen it on Christian's channel. He did a small pull and the car blew up, so we swapped a new motor, did rod bearings and full refresh of the motor, trans, resealed everything. So, and the car also got a CSF radiator, which you can't really see, but it's there. So he went ahead and bought an ethanol sensor and a motive reflex. So this is a Reflex Plus. You got fittings for flex fuel, all the connectors, ethanol harness. I'm not sure what this is, but I'll figure it out when I go ahead and do the install. And then your injector harness. So previously the car had JB4, which I think is pretty garbage because it makes a huge mess in the DME box, and I don't think it's that reliable. So what we're gonna do is actually I'm gonna make a video on this, on how to install, testing, and making sure everything works correctly. In 2 days I'll get the catch can, and I guess I'll see you guys then, which will be in like 2 seconds. So it is the next day. I went ahead and installed the catch can. It's a different style than what I had before, and it actually has a better filter than the one that was that I originally purchased. So this one actually screws on, the other ones are just dangling. So I have one fitting, 2 fittings. They're going all the way around over the valve cover. One goes into the valve cover, the other one goes into your intake side. I decided to just go with one hose. Instead of running 2 hoses and venting to atmosphere, I decided to just go ahead and use the intake and plug it in on the bottom, and then the top one is your line that goes to the valve cover. Reason being is the top port on this, which I was going to use for the intake, is actually a -12 and I only have -10 lines. So for me to do that, I would have to convert it to -10, and I didn't feel like doing that, so I decided to just go ahead and do this instead. But besides that, everything else is back on. The only thing I'm missing is this, because I can't find it, so I gotta see if I can source one out from somebody. I think my friend has one, so I'll put that on later on because it doesn't really matter right now. But the cowl is back on. I didn't put the screws in because I never put the screws in because it's not a fly off or anything. It is kind of banged up because it's got scratches, things like that, so it's not the best looking cowl, but it works. On this side, everything is cleaned up as well. All the lines, all the fittings are tight. The only problem I had again was mounting this catch again, because there's not much space, so I did the best that I could, but it works. So yeah, as far as the car goes, I will be installing the new reflex when I get it, and then we'll custom tune the car for a port injection and see how much power the car can make on these 17Ts. For those that are wondering, 17Ts are still alive. They work fine, no issues. I had the car in the lift, perfectly fine, no leaks, no nothing so far. Currently I think I am at 22 psi. When I was on a dyno last time, I had some issues with the car, so I was able to sort that out. It was the spark plugs, and there was also oil in the back, 2 cylinders, like I was saying in a previous video, from all the oil coming out of the PCV system, blah blah blah. Well, as soon as I get the reflex, we're gonna go ahead and start tuning this car for port injection and see if we can make even more power than what it makes currently, which is about 600 horsepower. I think I'm gonna do a dyno one more time before going port injection, just to see the numbers, and then once I get the port injection stuff, then I'll dyno it again and then show you guys the numbers. But besides that, the next video will be on the reflex install, like I said previously, and it's going to be on a 335 Carlos's car. He is going to be going from JB4 to reflex, and we'll see what his car makes, because we'll probably put his car on a dyno after we do everything. If you guys want the same setup, let me know. Hit me up on Instagram, Swap Depot. I can do all the install and things like that, and pretty much replicate exactly what I have in my engine bay on your car. So yeah, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next video.